My first name is Frank. I live in Yorba Linda, California, sunny Orange County, and I'm a software development business person, specifically a product manager.
Love that product manager. I worked with so many product
Yeah,
managers at Meta. It was like one of my favorite groups to interact with. Just lots of ingenuity and intelligence and bringing all the groups together. So cool. Well, we are here to talk about you. So if you wouldn't mind sharing where you were in your job search and your career before coming into Career Amp. So kind of what was the genesis and what was happening?
sure. Well, it's been really difficult to find something, right? I had gotten laid off. Tech has been in a downturn post COVID, so revenues dip, companies lay folks off. There are fewer positions available, particularly at my level. You can maybe see some gray hair. So I've been doing this for over 20 years. So I'm looking for something around the director, VP
Hmm.
level. Yeah, so very few open positions of that nature. Uh, so I was looking for some way to just polish everything up a little bit, right? I've applied for a lot of jobs. I've networked a lot in the past. I've spoken to folks. I've done consulting work, so I've got a pretty big network. But there were just some little things like, is my resume just right? What about cover letters? And you know, how should I say things about myself to really get the most value out of speaking to someone whom I may never have spoken with before, right? So
Hmm.
that's why Career Ramp looked interesting to me.
Awesome. And I'm so glad we found each other.
Yeah,
And if you like, so obviously I'm super aware about how treacherous it is out there in the job market. How long had you been kind of trying this on your own? I'm just curious before stumbling upon Career Amp.
just over a year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay. So just
yeah.
over a year. Okay. So you came across this on probably the interweb somewhere.
Yes.
And so as you were looking at options of, different coaches or programs to join, what was important to you about finding the one that was ultimately the match? What were you looking for?
Well, I was looking for something that had a lot of prompts and reminders and process that was interactive, not something that was like, hey, just send us your stuff and, you know, pay us something and we'll throw things at you. Right.
Yeah.
So Koreamp's great because, you know, you're keeping me active by reminding me about what I need to do and working hand in hand with me about my career search and who I am professionally. Right. There's a lot of services that lack that interactivity.
Yeah, for sure. It's so important. And like there's sure the methodology and the way that it's structured, but like that accountability piece and like the reminders like you're mentioning right now, they're a huge component of the process. I'm glad that you found that. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so you hopped inside the program. What would you say was like maybe the first win or first kind of like aha moment that unlocked something for you?
It was really a series of little wins. Basically, oh, okay, my resume, it was fine, but all right, now it's great. And my cover letters were okay, but now they're, better than I would have come up with on my own. And then, oh, all right, my LinkedIn profile was okay. It was generating some interest, but now it actually is in line with the cover letter and the resume, and it's a lot better than it was. All these little pieces, and then okay, I have been answering interview questions in the past in particular ways, but Career gave me better ways to answer them in more consistent ways to paint a picture about myself. So,
Amazing.
adding all those up is a pretty big win overall.
That's awesome. That's great. And I love all those things you called out. So yeah, speaking of your biggest win, like what would you consider your biggest win? What was most powerful for you? Was it your offer? Was it something along the way, or what would you say?
I think it was the ability to really polish up networking, to really be able to reach out, use some modern tools to leverage those to make it smoother and um, kind of leverage LinkedIn to the best extent to get in touch with folks and talk to them. And it's not just about getting a job, right? It's about having a toolbox to move forward forever, really.
Yeah.
And then also, since I do consulting work, having all these things aligned is helpful there too, right? I do
Yeah.
calls and other assignments and things, evenings, weekends, or on my lunch hour. Shh, don't tell anybody. And that's significant extra income. So
That's great.
having all these things polished and networking better than I have before is really really useful.
That's amazing. Yeah, multitude of ways that you can use the side door method, especially after getting the
Yeah,
job. And you called out something really poignant too, which is, a lot of people in their job search, at least in my experience, a lot of people in their job search go ready, fire, aim. And
sure.
I would say our methodology, sure, that could work, but we really believe in ready, aim, fire, and so that
Yeah,
you're like doing all the pre-work before you actually go out
yeah,
and
sure.
and do the work. I don't know if that
Yeah, you want to
resonates with
make
you.
it makes sense, and you want to make your time in developing your career, searching for jobs, as effective as it can be, right? Because especially today, especially in an employer's market, not an employee's market, uh, it's harder. And everything, if you're just shotgunning applications out there, I think so. In terms of the shotgun sense, in the last 18 months, I've applied to something like 2,000 jobs. Less than 1% responded, right?
Yeah, It's brutal, and it's
Yeah,
you're playing around with big end size, big numbers that just don't,
sure.
tip in your favor. So that's why you got
Yeah,
to do something different.
yeah,
That's why I had to do something different, which is the genesis behind why I started the
sure,
program. So that's awesome. Cool. All right, Frank. Last question here, which is
sure.
if someone's watching our conversation and they are on the fence on whether or not they want to join Career Amp, what would you tell them?
Tell them to ask a lot of questions from their perspective. What are they looking for? And how does Career Amp deliver that to them or enable them to find that for themselves? Right. Because uh, ultimately, it's your personal journey in developing your career and finding a position that's important. So Career Amp needs to fit that. And in the case of all of us using Career Amp services, it does.
Awesome. That's so great. Anything else you wanted to add before we sign off?
Sure. Folks shouldn't lose hope. It's tough, especially when there's a recession or partial recession or poor job market. And Career Amp isn't just a service for improving your employment circumstances. It's also a social means of connection to other people to discuss what you've been going through and what they've been going through and to help each other. So it's that kind of social connection that's also very
Mm.
important.
Yes, the power of community
Yeah,
in times that are difficult, whether economic or just personally,
yeah.
certainly help to have a tribe. So that's a great way to
Yeah,
end it. Thank you so
as sure. Just as one example,
Oh yeah.
the job offer I received and have accepted is from someone in my network I've known for over 30 years,
Mm,
right? So he saw my polished up resume and LinkedIn and all that, and we talked, and Career Amp preparation helped me out with that. Uh, but also Career Amp has taught me that, if you're networking, somebody from some time ago might bump into you and want to talk to you about something.
yeah, totally,
Yeah,
totally. We plant seeds and we don't know which ones
yeah,
are going to sprout, but it's just about planting them.
yep.
So that's awesome. Thank you so much for spending some
Great.
time with me today, Frank. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day.